the main attraction. Let me introduce you to Dr. Renewal.
This ain't about me, this is about you. This is about creating something that reflects 100 people representing hundreds and thousands and millions of other people from all over the world. And I'm just so absolutely happy to see each and every one of you here. Thanks so much.
We have a lot to do in 17 hours. To produce something that really should take 300 new days on June 8th. To create 100, when we move out and go through the stores, we have a lot to do.
Advertising is brand development shop based here in Memphis.
Little did I know I got a task, and that is to serve as your facilitator.
Hi, I'm Felicia. I'm from Puerto Rico.
I've worked as a volunteer with Action Greensboro, and really my function in that.
One of the real problems that I think we face from an economic and a cultural and artistic perspective, a creative perspective, is just the dearth of difference among places in the United States. That we are so homogenized in many respects that that works against the creativity in our economy. Every community has its own unique attributes, and discovering those unique attributes, I think, is really at the root of developing an authentic and an effective economic development strategy. And then finally, as Carol alluded to, I'll talk to you a little bit about the folks that we call the young and the restless. The people who are most likely to move, 25 to 34-year-olds, especially those with a college education. Because there's a huge migration that's happening right now that is in many respects economically the equivalent of African Americans who moved in the 1930s and 40s from the South to the northern cities. And our economic landscape is being changed just as much as the economic landscape was changed in those decades.
Walker Smith happens really to be one of the smartest guys I know. He can pick up thousands.
What you buy is driven by what you want your lifestyle to be. If you don't take control of marketing your city, that doesn't mean that your city isn't going to develop a brand image in the marketplace. You're just turning over the development of that brand image to someone else. What's happening is that we're moving from a marketplace in which people's first priorities are more about quantity, tangibles, and money, to a marketplace and a society in which people's first priorities are more about quality, intangibles, and time. The traditional family is now, for the very first time in American history, less than 25% of all U.S. households. When you're thinking about the future of your cities, the big thing that you're going to be dealing with are single households at both ends of the age spectrum. A participatory style is much more what people are looking for nowadays, and it's all related to these changing demographics and the changing experience of diversity. The biggest single trend that we see in the marketplace nowadays is an emerging interest in authenticity. Authenticity, because that's about quality of life. things that go beyond the appearances and the trappings of mere material success, but that connect with things that are genuine and real.
Thank you, Walker. Colin Jackson joins us from Calgary. Colin is really thinking about the theater and music and dance that happen inside Epcot Center. How to make art jump out of the box.
I think a creative city is a social construct. It's not an individual construct. It's a social construct. Creative cities do things and act in ways that encourages ever more dense and interesting and broad networking between the citizens. Creative cities have circumstances that encourage ideas to spill over from one domain to another. Problem solution emphasis is how managers maintain their power and how we stay locked in where we are. And of course we have real and deep problems, but if we don't get up and above them, create different conditions within which we work, interact, and live, we will never finally resolve those problems. I think it's all about how do we build better, deeper, more interesting and complex relationships among ourselves? How do we communally come to understand that we are co-creating our future? We can either default and allow it to happen to us, or we can take action and make it something that we want to be part of. Finally, at the end of the day, we have to find a game which raises everybody's ship, not just drains your pond in order to fill mine.
Bill Bishop is a writer on the Special Projects team at the Austin American Statesman. He wrote what could we call, I think, the most sweeping and lively and insightful series of articles that reviewed really all of the thinking on this topic of creative cities. He called his series Cities of Ideas, Prosperity and Its Price, and he sort of appropriated his title, so Bill, thanks for loaning us your title.
Now we're seeing a different kind of migration. So we began to look at why certain places were attracting those people. They were more interested in other places and cultures, more likely to try anything once, more likely to engage in individualistic activities, more optimistic. Development is a do-it-yourself process. For any economy, it's either do-it-yourself or don't develop. I said, yeah, it is do-it-yourself. It's not waiting for someone to come in to bring you the plant or bring you some creative people. It's what you do yourself. If you wanted to define economic development in a single word, that word would be improvisation. I said, yeah, that makes sense. I can see that. And you know, improvisation doesn't just take place in hip, cool places. It takes place everywhere. It's not a question of you got to be in the right place. You know, your place can be the right place too.
So, where are you guys from?
Well, our question is, what attracts the creative?
Some of the most important things are created. They're not inherited. A lot of places are starting to figure out that we can build these key features that attract talent and that generate new ideas and new businesses. And it's really about being a smart, innovative place. What are you the first, the best, and the only in? The bottom line in an economy driven by ideas, innovation is place-based. It's face-to-face. It's part of that face-to-face interaction. You have to have diversity, tolerance, hipness, culture of entrepreneurship. Smart people want to be with smart people. And it's really about sustained effort, civic, public, and private sector.
Lolo London is also on the street making it happen for her home city. Her focus is on arts and culture, and she has been a key member of the Pittsburgh Ground Zero Network, Action Network, and she has
creativity resides in everybody. It's just an individual that can make an impact on changing how you view your community, your city. The Surrealists had this manifesto, and it was mainly artists. There was philosophers, writers, performance artists. They did the same thing that we're doing right now. They were saying, let's affect the status quo. Let's change these modes of thinking. Because differences should be celebrated, and you can't wait for things to happen. You have to be a part of that process.
A national organization that produced a fabulous report last December. If you haven't seen it, Building Up is the title. It's got a copy.
So, as Karen mentioned, I head an organization called Canada 25.
A nonprofit organization that tries to bring together young Canadians.
Regardless of the people to whom we spoke, regardless of where they came from, whether they were lawyers or accountants or artists or activists, whether they put themselves on the left wing or on the right wing, whether they came from small towns or big cities, whether they chose to remain in their hometowns, whether they chose to move, they all said the same thing. A great city is full of buzz. It buzzes with energy. It's full of interesting people doing important things. People are attracted to cities that are diverse in class, in income, in color. Cities that fight to maintain that diversity because it doesn't just happen. And they're attracted to cities with rich and living culture. So here's the complicated question then. If everybody wants the same thing, why don't we have those cities? What's getting in the way? That was our big aha moment. Not all cities can put out the message saying we're the next Silicon whatever, or we're the next biotechnology hotspot, come here. But what it is helping cities understand what it is that's special about their communities, what it is that will attract people, and working hard to get that message out.
So we're just going to went through these, and I tried to order them, but I hope my group jumps in here, Mike.
We kind of combined challenges and opportunities, but basically one of the stated facts in there was that there was a significant lack of mass transportation, but also in wanting.
This one I think is important.
Is that part of leadership?
Get the accurate story out there. If it is an accurate image, then you've got to figure out.
One of the ideas is to link the skier community in with the arts and culture.
And using those grants to encourage change agents too. And the opportunities that we found were first engaging immigrants and encouraging minority-owned business.
We'll make the round of cities on the opportunity side, and then we'll circle back to the same cities help.
Start a business, go to college, or down payment on home. You'd be raising a generation of potential entrepreneurs who will have some seed money for their idea.
Which is based on like elementary and high school versus.
Can a city be prosperous and not lose its soul?
What constitutes diversity? How can it be encouraged? In economic strategy, generally, you look for opportunities to create a unique advantage, and this is where place really comes in, because it's very difficult to create new, authentic places. It's almost an oxymoron, because authenticity comes from the layering of development by many hands over time. It's not just a textured mix of structures from different historical periods. It's not just the scene that's created by artists and entrepreneurs and restaurateurs to animate that setting. I'm talking about place as a vessel of meaning. Tolerance created diversity, diversity enabled innovation. It's a formula that's still operative. How can we be economically successful and not lose our soul?
We can find another phrase to call ourselves
Recruiting young consumers.
And, you know,
Okay, so let me ask you this, because we're in the grading period, so is this?
This includes immigrant newcomers, but we don't want to forget our native populations in all of our cities. 5, understanding city.
To reflect.
Great, so you move away, and that's exactly what happened. So 3 quarters.
22 here to finish up.
Number 22, my name is Stunning Muller. I'm from here in Memphis.
It is part of that, or they present cities that are different and authentic, whatever that is.
I'd like us to put more things in the manifesto that people should do.
We commit to channeling that creative talent into our community.
How do you get other people involved? How do you make this a grassroots campaign? This needs to be community involvement, needs to be community-based.
We value the risk that must be taken, and it's more than a promise or a pledge. You also have to get in, run for office,
policymakers.
The contemporary art centers, the commercial galleries often, the underground, the clubs, the artist studio spaces, those venues are about the city of ideas. If you have those kinds of things, you know, the international festival, the ephemeral, the temporary, the provocative, the often controversial, that tends to reflect a city of ideas. We're also very much part of a gift economy and a spiritual and a soulful economy that keeps a different set of traditions and interests real and refreshed. There's the idea makers, right? They have to be there, obviously, the person that has the idea. But then there has to be the connectors of the idea to a broader set of circumstances. The implementer people, the rebels against the idea have to be there. The people who are willing to sustain the effort have to be there. That there's multiple ingredients. And that choreography, I think, is what makes a city of ideas actually become one.
Invest in the creative ecosystem. The creative ecosystem includes arts and culture, nightlife, the music scene, restaurants, designers, density, affordable rents, lively neighborhoods, public spaces, and third places. Okay, next point, nurture the creatives and support the connectors. Convert a no culture into a yes culture. Invest in opportunity making, not just problem solving. Challenge conventional wisdom. Certainty is blasphemy. Kip, where are you? That's about a Kip. Value risk taking. I loved what one group put on the board. Past failures are only failures when left as the final word. That was really nice. Number 13, improvise. Recognize the value of quality of place. Today's most important magnet features are created, not inherited. This is from Mary Jo, and a lot of people talked about quality of place yesterday. Please pick one of these up before you go to your breakout group. Your card should tell you where you're supposed to be. And let's all go there now and start inventing 2.0.
So we came up with the idea that the first thing that needs to happen is a preamble that sort of really explains it. And I think that others came up with that to foster new ideas and expressions. And then finally there were a few words that we had trouble with. The statement declare war, we just didn't like it.
Diversity, foster, invest. We feel like we just need more depth, more action, more energy, and more vision.
Communities and regions might make more sense than just cities. Concrete action terms.
So I've asked the facilitators to go back and work on a second draft. I had heard that said, but you know, let's push forward and get something done. And that's where we're trying to go. But I want to let you know. There were a couple of things that everybody seemed to like nod their heads. The first thing he said, what was it, Neil?
End up with this is our call to action.
If he says something you like, stomp your feet, clap your hands, so I know.
Number 2 has a sentence without a verb, so we changed it to invest in the creative ecosystem, which can include arts and culture, nightlife, music scene. Otherwise, you gotta. Our alternative says promote a veneer of tolerance when people are looking. The most important attractions are both created and inherited. That's how we fix that.
You like that? Okay. Did you get that?
Changing cities to communities so its creative communities are vibrant. So the towns are included, rural areas.
Do you want to change cities to communities? Who else?
You want to change compete to thrive in a new way?
No. Okay, keep going.
Man, that's a tough groove.
It says a combination of skills uniquely the province of the creative class. Did people clap about that one going?
I'm not going
fix it at this point. So,
yes.
So come up with a recommendation, and we'll put it to the group. Do it now. I'll let Anna talk, and then stand back up. I think you bring up a great point.
And creativity involves arts, culture, entrepreneurship, innovation. And I think the way to change it, if we change it, is right up front by adding all of those things rather than trying to stick jobs and other stuff, by reflecting that creativity really involves all these mechanisms by which we realize what's important to us. So
if you boo me, I'm coming after your ass. The whole free market economy was built on competition. The idea is that the competition is what drives the creative economy. It's a meritocracy. You have to earn what you get. No one's going to hand you anything. I'm sorry, but you have to. Listen, this is the point, okay? I'm going to get a lot of boos here, but please beware the trappings of PC culture, because it has bogged down more good movements than we can shake a stick at.
That our culture in North America is inclining towards fragmentation and towards separation. And there's a huge and deep hunger in all human beings, as been remarked on so many times, to make meaning, to build community. And that's what this, at its essence, is about, is how do we renew our North American culture so that it is adaptive to the future and will become part of that future. Carol, you and Richard are doing the Lord's work. Even if there is no God. Even if there is no God.
And it says that the undersigned commit to our communities and each other that we will go back to our communities and infuse these ideas into our social lives and public policies, and then share these accomplishments with each other so that we can all move forward and succeed together in a more creative existence.
Yeah! Well, it was looking pretty good there, but... Let me just say this. We're committed to continuing the listserv. So these are ideas that we can continue to share with one another. The Creative 100 is committed to the growth, prosperity, and excellence of communities and all who work and live and work there. The Creative 100 believes in the vision and the opportunities of a future driven by the power of ideas. Ideas are the growth engines of tomorrow, so the nurturing of the communities within which ideas can flourish is the key to success. Nurture the creative, support the connectors, collaborate to compete in a new way, and get everyone in the game. Invest in opportunity making, not just problem solving. Tap into the creative talent, technology, and energy for your community. Challenge conventional wisdom. Be authentic. Identify the unique value you add and focus on those assets where you can be first, best, and only. Leave it in. Yeah! Take it out. Yeah! Tell you what, we're going to take it out for now and sorry, Michael, if you have a quick comment. Say it again, Michael. Michael, yell it back there.
Identify the value you add and focus on those assets where you can be.
Yeah.
Good job. Okay. Michael, go to the back and tell them what you just said. Thank you. Go to the next point. Thank you, Michael. We accept the responsibility to be the stewards of creativity in our communities. We understand the ideas and principles in this document may be adapted to reflect our community's unique needs and assets. Here's what we're going to do. Richard, first of all.
Well, we're in a hurry. Okay, so I just want to say thank you. This blows me away. What you guys have accomplished is truly, truly remarkable. And I'm just, I don't know, forever in all of your gratitude. And I just want to say a special word of thanks again to Carol and the always invisible concept.
Thank you, Richard. If you will, just go over to the table. We've got several places to sign. Pick up your t-shirt. We're going to do the photograph outside on AutoZone Plaza. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming to Memphis and being part of this summit.